just like on the front. So like everyone stopped drinking Gatorade, Powerade, like any of those other drinks, and they were just chugging vitamin waters. I'm like, I don't think this is much better, guys. But
yeah, I remember thinking
never had a
like,
vitamin water.
Do you remember thinking it was like really good for you because you'd see the commercials and you'd be like, well, 50 Cent is shredded and he's
and the name of it
called it vitamin water,
right? They could call it protein water or something. Be like, well, shit, I guess the primary ingredient's either protein or water.
How predatory is that? Like reading the back of a vitamin water, that should be illegal. It's got like more soda than 2 Cokes.
Like I'm almost certain the first ingredient in vitamin water is like not even water. It's I think it's like sugar or some dextrose thing or whatever. Yeah. You know, it's
probably water, but
it can't be water, bro. It can't be water. I'm gonna look this shit up.
It's not even. It's even worse than Gatorade, and Gatorade sucks.
I like Gatorade.
Dude, if you had body armor, like
but
that.
Wait, how are you measuring it? By taste or by health?
Oh, by taste.
I drink Gatorade Zero, so it's no fucking calories anyway. Or if it is, it's like the whole bottle's got 30 calories, and it's like burnt that getting pressed. So
okay, the first is water, but they win this battle.
I don't like water. I don't like just drinking straight up water. I almost never do it. But I drink tons of everything else.
Straight water.
I've never had a vitamin water in my life. I don't know what it tastes like or what the flavors are like. I remember when that came out thinking that was ghetto water and that the idea of putting vitamins in water was it was like you didn't even take a step forward before you took a step back, bro.
You didn't even take
immediately. Why don't you make me some? You got any spinach water? I don't want it. No thanks. No vitamin water for me. I want some rutabaga water. You got any turnip water?
Oh man,
get out of here. Give me
our interpretations of ghetto water is very different as well, by the way, which I love. You know, but that's it, man. That's America. You know,
I mean, when I looked at it, it was never like, all right, when I watch an Apple commercial, it has a certain look to it. The people using the products and the environment they're in. And then I watch the vitamin water commercial.
Oh yeah, it looks is the hood. Dude,
I didn't know that. I've never seen a vitamin water commercial. To me, it was just somebody trying to trick you into healthy water, like a healthy drink. Gatorade, but healthier is what vitamin water is.
I think they're trying to trick I don't think they're trying to trick me, but I could tell they're trying to trick somebody into drinking water. And I didn't want to be part of their bag. No, I've never had.
No, it was literally trying to trick people into thinking that
it was healthy.
Vitamin water was healthy.
Of course,
like, the same as full sugar.
You call it vitamin water.
Yeah, that's why you call it vitamin water because it's
its second ingredient is crystalline fructose. Okay, not even they motherfuckers couldn't even say sugar. They just say crystalline fructose, man.
Yeah,
as if it's like something you find in a cave in the middle of like South Africa or something like that.
It comes from like the worst pears that are left over at the worst supermarkets. Like and pulled out of that. Like
I just watched a documentary on Netflix called Poisoned. It's an hour and 20 fucking minutes about our food industry. And it starts off with this montage of politicians saying we have the safest food supply in the world, like one after another. But the video will be like rat shit and food and like a dead cat falling into the bin of rice or something. And it's all they have a few central characters. One of them is a lawyer who was the guy who stuck it to Jack in the Box back in the day when they killed those kids. You may not know it. Late 70s, early 80s, there was an incident, maybe Ohio and New Jersey, can't remember exactly. Jack in the Box killed some kids, basically. Whoa. They undercooked their hamburgers, and the meat had E. coli 0157 in it. And so both of those contributed to a lot of kids dying, hundreds of kids being poisoned. And what you got to understand, this isn't just food poisoning. We've probably all had one kind of E. coli or another.
This was 1992, 1993, by the way. It's called the Great Jack in the Box E. coli outbreak. Sorry.
Yeah, it's this E. coli 0157 stuff is just deadly. Apparently, it goes into your gut and it produces this stuff called Shiga toxin, which then gets in your bloodstream, kills your red blood cells. All those red blood cells make your kidneys failure, and then there's a cascade reaction where it kills one organ after another. And I'm not talking about over weeks and months. One day you have diarrhea, the next day you are in a coma and dying. The third day you are dead. And it happened to tons of children, and they didn't know what it was at first. So there's this delayed reaction, and this lawyer really stuck it to Jack in the Box, got each kid like millions and millions of dollars. Some of them to this day are like, some of these kids have to learn to walk again. Like it's weird neurological nerve damage that they receive from this stuff. And the deal was at that time, E. coli 0157 was just considered something that might be on beef. You know, it's not, if you were to test the beef at the plant and they're like, yeah, E. coli again, when you know it, pack it up, because it was considered to be the customer's problem at that point. It's like, cook your meat, cook the E. coli out of it. And so what had happened was at those Jack in the Boxes in particular in the Northeast or wherever, they had a regulation that had changed recently that said, you got to cook your burgers to 155 degrees. That's what we want. And they're like, nah, it makes them tough. They said that in a memo, maybe an email. That makes them tough. So they've got them saying, hey, 155 will make our beef healthier and safer. And them going, makes the burgers tough. And then a pile of dead children. So Jack in the Box paid through the fucking nose. And then this documentary goes on to explain why we have these salmonella outbreaks now. And it's because all of the leafy greens on the fucking planet, I'm talking about if you're in Thailand or Japan tonight and you have a romaine salad, it's grown in Arizona. It's grown in Arizona. That's where it came from. They grow it in these huge, massive irrigation fields that are right next to the concentrated cattle lots.
Oh, and nice. That's convenient.
All of that. And so
CAFOs?
all of that shit and water is flowing out of them down a trough into an irrigation ditch, and that's being spritzed on all of the vegetables in that everyone eats. And so all you need is
extra
one
seasoning.
cow,
Yes,
one cow in that feedlot to get to shit, and it's 0157, and then that shit goes into the water and gets sprayed on one head of lettuce. Then that head of lettuce, you ever buy a spring mix? How many heads of lettuce is that spring mix incorporated into that bag?
a lot.
Are they even from the same field, from the same part of the same state, from the same grower? Who knows? You could be covering an acre worth of land. That's the potential for shit being sprayed on your food.
Mhm.
And you don't wash romaine lettuce. Who likes a hot salad, right?
Yeah.
So you're rinsing it off, and that doesn't kill the bacteria. And the same thing is true with sprouts. But romaine lettuce and baby spinach seem to be the number one danger things. There was a 17-year-old girl who got crippled in the middle of the documentary, and it was I think it was lettuce from Panera Bread or something, or something like that. And they're always a little queasy. They're always a little weird about saying shit. I loved one of the scientists just said shit. He was like, you got these animals shitting, and that shit gets sprayed on our food, and then we eat the shit. And I was like, thank you for explaining it, because no one else.
That's how you have to say it. Because someone's going to be like, and you can see the fecal matter actually goes inside of the liquid and then it spreads in a blossoming matter. It's like, no, just tell me, is there shit in there? I need to know right now.
That's like the kind of guy who would like be brought up in front of our geriatric retard politicians on one of those things, and he'd be like, there's shit all over the food, and they'd be like, whoa, English. Like, leave your technology and your diplomas at the door. I'm 102. Like,
there was a peanut plant here in Georgia that was so filthy. For one thing, there were holes in the roof, and the bird shit was just, when it would just rain down into the food. And so all sorts of like viruses from birds potentially that can cross over, and all sorts of illnesses, right? Rat shit everywhere, dead rats everywhere. And they have memos there too, where he's like, get the product and get it shipped. And they're like, well, we'll have to clean the dirt and shit off of it first. And he's like, clean it and ship it. And it's like all right there in black and white. And he was this old multimillionaire that had been doing Georgia peanuts for decades. The guy only gave him 3 months, and he poisoned so much. So the thing is, everything has a little bit of peanut in it. So they couldn't, all the Keebler cookies in the country had to be thrown out, right?
Really?
And then like all the peanut butter and all the peanut snacks, that it was so many products. Call it 300 different products. If it's one product, it's like, all right, get rid of all the fruit bars.
Mm-hmm.
But it was hundreds of products that had his poisoned peanuts in them that had to be thrown out.
I'm assuming he's not in business anymore.
I bet he is.
Is that where we get all of our peanuts in the U.S. from Georgia?
Georgia has to be numero uno. We do a ton here. There could be a neighboring state that does it cheaper, but it has to be Georgia, I would think. That's kind of what we're known for. But it opened my eyes. I honestly am never going to have a romaine lettuce. I'm never going to, not a salad again. I'll never eat a salad again. It was so scary that I'm not going to risk eating salad over the potential.
What about like
damages.
a real good Caesar salad, like pre-steak? You're not.
I'm never going to have a salad again because it doesn't matter how fancy your salad is, unless they're literally growing those greens themselves locally. Then they could have sprayed it with some fucking shit, and you can't wash it off well enough to ensure that you won't die.
Do you have a farmer's market near you? Because I know it's a meme, but if you have one near you, people, go there and get all your vegetables there. It's 10,000 times better. It's not even close. A tomato from a grocery store isn't even a tomato.
You feel a little better buying from there too, because you at least know that, like, because you can talk to the farmer too and like kind of get an idea of like what they're about. Because we used to have this when I lived in San Francisco when I was working at Twitch. We lived like out in a place called San Leandro, and they used to have this farmers market every Sunday, and we used to love to go there specifically because they made like this watermelon water that was god tier, like just fresh grinded watermelons. You're seeing them make it like right then and there. It's just utter perfection. And then fresh tamales and different like salsas and shit like that. Like, oh my god, it was so incredible. But my favorite part was going to the peanut farmers that were there, because they would have those like moist boiled peanuts, I guess. Like, I don't know. Boiled, the boiled peanuts, and I never had one before, and it was so good. And we would just go back there all the time. I think did
they have different flavors, like Cajun maybe, or
some of them did. We usually stuck with the regular one because my wife liked to use it in a few dishes stuff. But yeah, they were very delicious. And then obviously you just go and you'd speak to some of the farmers because we used to like getting the whole head of lettuce, from the farmer. Because again, like you said, yes, those packages are nice and they are helpful and they are convenient, but you don't know where the hell all that shit's coming from. It's just because it's green, doesn't mean it was taken care of properly. And that's the thing that sucks, man.
The salmonella with chicken thing, I'd always heard that. So they get the guy who owns fucking Purdue. He's like the chicken man. Half the country in the country he's in charge of. Yep.
He was in the documentary. I think they mentioned him a few times in that chicken documentary, the chicken sandwich one.
And the other half is the Tyson guy. Yeah.
And they were like, we took 5 chickens from the grocery store and tested them, and one of them had salmonella, and it was a Purdue chicken. And he's like, okay, well, I mean, that's a small sample size, though. 5 packages, and one of them was ours. I would like to see a larger sample size. And they're like, well, what would you suggest? 150 birds in a short period of time. They immediately go buy 150 fucking birds and send them to the lab. 35% or something of Purdue chicken has salmonella on it when you buy it out of the package. And that's not just their chicken. When you buy chicken, just know there is a 1 in 3 chance that there is a poison on that chicken that could kill you. So cook your chicken 165 degrees and you'll live.
No, I like it medium rare.
Me too. I like a little pink in the middle.
Taylor likes his with just a little bit of blood.
Yeah, there's nothing like chicken nigiri, right? Little rice,
I like a little. I made myself chicken tartare the other day. Absolutely delicious.
It has to be chilled. It has to be chilled just right.
Only if it's chilled. And honestly, the sides they have to be tasteful. Otherwise,
if 4 hours later you're not grievously ill, you didn't make it right.
Yeah, exactly. If you're not shitting your pants, that's not good food. That's all I'm saying.
Dude, you want to lose weight? A little chicken tartare. That'll get you right where you need to be.
That's a fitness plan right there.
I guarantee it. Like I'm gonna be more careful when I cook because I've gotten food poisoning a lot. Usually from restaurants.
Gotten it a baffling amount of times.
I eat risky foods and I eat risky times of day.
This is good for you to watch because you are definitely more susceptible to food poisoning than other people. I bet you've doubled up me and Woody combined in the past few years.
I've eaten Red Lobster raw oysters before. Like,
why would you do that?
Red Lobster raw oysters?
Yeah, they have raw oysters at the Red Lobster. And I remember I was on a date once and I was like, really? Well, give us a dozen. And they got there and she's like, I don't eat those. And I had to eat a dozen oysters as an appetizer. And by the 8th oyster, it was just for show.
Yeah, you were committed.
It was just for show at this point. It was.
I love oysters.
Are you sure you don't want at least one oyster? Just trying to get them to take one off that plate so I have. They're getting warm now. But it's usually been like burger joints that got me sick. I'll never eat at a Sonic again because I got poisoned at a Sonic and went back 2 days later to the same place and got poisoned again.
At that point, that's just your fault. That's your fault. Yeah. You only have yourself to blame.
Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice.
That burger was delicious.
Yeah. I mean, wait, how is it delicious if it got you sick?
Look, that completely different things.
He loves the taste of poop.
It was a delicious burger full of poison or shit or something. But I remember they had one of those seasonal jalapeno burgers, which I always am super attracted. I love it when they're like, Wendy's had one back in the day that was jalapenos and nacho cheese, and that was the burger. Ugh. And it was so good, Taylor.
Nacho cheese on the burger.
Good. I'd eat it on my lunch break, and I'd be just fucking in the car eating that motherfucker. It's so good.
Is it fried jalapenos?
I remember them being pickled and being very spicy.
I was going to make fun of you if they're fried because that's the worst.
The poop is the secret ingredient, Taylor. You're missing out on how good this thing tastes.
Taylor was talking about his chicken tartare weight loss tactic.
That's my
new business for watching.
Your food poisoning weight loss strategy is way better than my flu-based one.
Yeah. Woody's just licking fucking taxi handles. That's what he's hoping for. No,
you mean to tell me I've been licking doorknobs this whole time, and all I had to do was have chicken tartare? Fuck out of here.
Just need chicken tartare. And the secret is, all that chicken at the store, once you lick it, they don't make you buy it, and they can't sell it.
That's
you just have to have a lot of grocery stores around you.